is cold, guys. It is cold. Let's see. What do we got here? Learn. Hey everyone. I am just charging at the supercharger. I'm in Michigan right now. We're doing an off-site. So rather than do like an hour and a half flight from Chicago to Detroit and then have to deal with an hour at the airport each way, figured I would go ahead and just drive. So doing a little supercharge. And it just started snowing here, so that's fun. But the day went well. Last week was busy because I was in Vegas most of the week for our annual reInvent conference, so I was doing a lot of catch up. Basically didn't really do much work last week other than happy hours and customer meetings. Just found your page. You're an incoming SA at AWS, but in a few years you want to do sales. Is it possible? Yeah. I've definitely seen a few SAs and sales engineers go from pre-sales engineering or solutions architects to sales. Like if you really do enjoy more of like the business aspect or the sales aspect. I've actually been a sales engineer twice at two other startups, and I've gone from sales engineering to sales, back to sales engineering, back to sales right now. So definitely possible to do it. Pre-sales versus pre-hired. So yeah, two solid options. So pre-sales is for if you want to become a pre-sales engineer. Pre-hired is another program. People that are specifically interested in going down the sales path. So that would be going into a sales development representative, then account executive. So two different roles. They go hand in hand. The pre-sales role is one that doesn't have as much like selling pressure, although you do make less commission because of that. It's more of a technical role. You're the technical counterpart of the sales reps. But the Pre-Sales Academy program is actually really solid. They're just doing applications right now. It's ending, I think, this Friday or next Friday for their January cohort. It's like a 10-week program. What's up, man? What's my take on Salesforce sales roles? Salesforce is a solid company, especially for sales reps. So you're going to get a ton of like great training, support. The products are well regarded within the market. So how soon should you ask your director as an SDR when to be promoted if you hit quota every month? I recommend having career-focused conversations with your manager or director every month. I would say, the first 2-3 months you're kind of getting your feet on the ground, but at that point you should make it clear in terms of like what your career growth aspirations are, because not everyone wants to go from SDR to inside sales or field rep, for example. You'd be surprised. So some people might want to go into like marketing or support or anything like that. So make it clear in terms of that's the career path you want to do, and then ask them like directly up front, like, what do I need to do to show that I'm ready to get promoted? And then ask for like a realistic timeline. So they might tell you need to show consistent performance for 12 to 18 months, but get that down, get the deliverables down that you need to hit, and then hold them accountable to it. You definitely don't want to just like sit around and wait for a promotion. That's the biggest career mistake that people make. After the entry-level role, you really do have to kind of write your own promotion documents and fight for your promotions. Explain stock vesting for tech jobs. So pretty much every tech job is going to offer you stock or equity. So if it's a publicly traded company, they're going to give you stock usually. So they'll give you a set number of shares. So let's say they might give you like 100 shares, and a normal vesting schedule is 4 years. So, and they'll evenly vest it. So at the end of your first year, they'll give you a quarter of your stock. At your 1 year anniversary, at your 2 year anniversary, they'll give you the other quarter, and so on for 4 years. Companies will have different vesting schedules though. Amazon does a back-weighted vesting schedule, so they'll give you 5% year 1, 15% year 2, 40% year 3, year 4. Google used to be a 4-year vesting schedule that was even, but they actually changed it now where it's actually weighted more towards the front. So you get a lot more of the stock in year 1 and year 2, less in year 3 and year 4. The reason why they did that is because usually you get more stock every year. And what happens is your initial grant is usually pretty big. And because they give you more stock every year, it starts stacking. So the issue that Google was having was that after 4 years, people would be looking at making, 100 to 200,000 less in their 5th and 6th year. They call that the cliff. And that's when some people would switch positions. So that's stock vesting. If it's not publicly traded, they'll give you options. Options are only worth something when the company either goes public or during a funding round. There is a sell event that would allow you to sell your options. It's a little bit more complicated, but you'll have a strike price. Let's say that they'll give you 1,000 shares, the right to buy 1,000 shares at $10 a share. Every time they raise money, if they're doing well, their valuation goes up. So, for example, I got a friend that joined Snowflake a year before they went public. They gave him, $200,000 worth of options at whatever the strike price was a year before they went public. They went public, and then the valuation went up 20x since he got his options. So he had the right to buy basically $4 million of stock for $200,000. So he made, almost $4 million off of that. So, but it's, options are only worth something for startups if they go public, and it could take 10 plus years for that to happen in most cases. You think you want to do this? I think sales may as well have been your passion. Yeah, so I kind of wrote off sales initially. I always kind of thought, as like an engineer, for example, that, I had maybe misconceptions about what sales actually was, car sales or insurance sales. But tech sales, software sales, it's much more consultative. There's no high pressure or anything. So if you enjoy talking to people, if you enjoy learning about business, understanding your customer's business, crafting value propositions, doing presentations, then you might enjoy sales. And there's lots of other roles within sales too, not just like the direct selling roles. There's like the technical roles, there's solutions architects, there's even like sales operations and marketing. You work for DocuSign, the topic of stock prices, you just got rocked. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I forgot who it was. One of the Twitter influencers was like, turns out the DocuSign investors found out that their entire business could be replaced by pen and paper. I thought that was funny. But I don't know, lately, stock market's been pretty volatile. Like Peloton got wrecked too. Just got your first interview with SalesLoft. Nice, and ahead. Congrats, man. Just got a job as a technical sales engineer. What will your progression be like? So, sales engineers, it depends on the company. So typically it's more of a flat organization. There aren't as many levels in sales engineering and pre-sales as there is in sales. So typically what happens is you'll move up from sales engineer to like a senior sales engineer, and then you might move up into a manager position. And then from there, people will go different paths. You can stay in that individual contributor path for quite a long time, or you might decide you want to be more on the sales side, so you could transition to sales. I've seen some sales engineers move into marketing or product management, so it's a pretty versatile role. What are my thoughts on sales ops? Very important, especially for bigger companies, just because scaling is always an issue. Tom, just got an offer from mid-market AE for 180K OTE. Congrats, man. How long do I think I'll stay at AWS? It depends. I never like to say a specific number. So I always tell everyone, when you're trying to decide, should you stay in your current role? Should you switch? you got to evaluate basically what's your internal career trajectory looks like. I recently got promoted, so it's looking good. We'll see where the next year or two takes me. Where outside offers perhaps might come in. But I might also start my own thing in like 2 years too. We'll see. Do you want to do cybersecurity, risk analytics? Exactly. You think the SA role will translate pretty well in sales later down the road? Yeah. So if you could be technical and business savvy, it's a very, very in-demand skill set. How much experience do you need for L6 at AWS? It's hard to say on the number of years. It's going to be based on how many years of like enterprise sales experience you have for large deals, multi-million-dollar deals. So for me, I got in as an L6 6 years out of college, but I had a lot of very relevant experience. So I've seen some L6s with 15 years of experience, for example. So it really depends. One of my BDR roles is an OT of 65K. Is that good? Yeah, it's pretty much in there. It kind of depends on the company and the region. For BDRs, SDRs, those are the entry-level roles. Typically, you'll see offers between 60 and 90K. How good is CDW? CDW is a solid reseller, VAR. So how do you get a sales internship? Look on LinkedIn. They'll pretty much all be posted there. Can someone with an entrepreneurial background jump to an AE role and skip SDR entirely? Probably not. Most cases, no. The SDR role is kind of like an apprenticeship. So you're learning a lot of skills on the job, and those skills are going to translate over as an AE. Does marketing pay more than technical sales engineering? You'll be an SE for Texas Instruments. In my experience, no. What'll happen is like at big companies, big tech companies like Google, Facebook, the engineers will make more money because they give them more stock. But at places like Texas Instruments where they don't give as much stock, you'll be making the same base in marketing as you will in sales engineering or sales, but you make a lot more commission compared to the standard bonus, which is like 15% of your base or something like that. If you have a systems engineering background, should you look for SDR or AE? You could even look at sales engineer or pre-sales engineer. You have a sales internship for CDW 2022. Phone review today. What do you think? Yeah, it could be a great internship. So I think you'll get great training and support from them. That's kind of what you want to look for at an internship or entry-level roles. Sometimes if you join like a really small startup, then you're kind of like doing everything on your own. You're not getting really like the training that you need, because early on in your career, first 1, 2, 3 years, you really want to be like building your foundational skills. That's why I usually recommend like a larger company to start off at, just so you can get like the training and the mentorship. And then later, if you do decide you want to go to a startup, then you can at least, you can hit the ground running. You're not relying on their training, their support. Because I've seen a lot of people join startups, small startups, and they flounder. They're not really sure what they're doing. Their managers are busy wearing many hats. So what are the interviews like after some experience for senior SE roles? So it'll range. It depends how technical the product is. Some sales engineer interviews will have a coding aspect. They'll usually have some sort of technical presentation on a product or talking about a topic. And then you have your standard. And then you have your standard. Did I go to the Zed concert at reInvent? No, I missed that one. What's my net worth? I gotta look at it exactly, but I'm closing in on 2 mil, which is good. I have a couple of properties in Austin, so a lot of it's from that appreciation. Just started SDR at startup. General advice for prospecting. Thoughts on the Vidyard? Vidyard's great. General advice is look at Mailshake. They have a great cold email masterclass. Check it out. You want to be pretty much you want to be direct. You want to I'm big on social selling right now. And then be concise. Do your research on the customer. Don't just send out generic emails. You help me out, man. You've been messaging on Instagram. Yeah, happy to do that. Oh, actually, the car is done supercharging, guys. So I'm off to the next stop. I'll be on live Wednesday night, so you can go ahead and check that. How does it feel being a first gen, getting this far? Feels good. Feels great. Both my parents came from Poland, immigrated here, so I think I kind of carried over some of their grit and hard work, so I'm grateful for that. I'm going to Detroit. Going to the AWS office in Detroit, meeting with one of my accountant teams, doing some account planning for 2022. But thanks, everyone. See you later.